You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show.
Do you find that with Stay Hungry, there is that the shadow side of that, where you could actually be so caught up in constantly striving and never actually being settled or content?
Big time. And I do push hard. Like, one of my traits is I don't know when to stop. And like recently just been to America to VCon, and I was sat with some of the UK token holders who don't know who I am, and that's great. And we sat having coffee, and 2 Americans came over with a copy of my book and asked me to sign it. And nobody there even knew I had a book, let alone, I was like, oh shit, this has spoiled it for me. And not in like a arrogant sense, but suddenly those friendships that I built with people who liked me for who I was, now they were like, oh, he's an author, and these people want his autograph, and I completely relate to what you're saying. It was like, oh, like I'm so grateful that someone would come up to me who I don't know and ask for it. Like, really lucky, and I would never take that for granted. But it was like, oh, I've made some friends, and they don't want anything from me, and now they know I've got something in it.
Why do you think that feels different? I agree with you. I get the same feeling. Why do you think it's different though?
Because I'm on a pedestal now, and rightly or wrongly, I'm not aiming like, look at me. But when you are on a pedestal, you start to doubt why people are interacting with you sometimes. So, I'll use an example you used before. But if you put on an event, you start getting DMs about people asking if they can speak at your event. 100%. Like, we've both gone through that. And you're like, wow, where the fuck were you before? And so sometimes when you meet people, you have to take a moment to be like, right, do you want something from me, or do you just want to be part of this? And, I'm okay with either, but I just want to know where I stand.
I love that. Now, question on that. How do you decide that? So someone comes up to meet you, they say, oh my God, Joel, I'm so excited to meet you. How do you work out if they want something or if they're just grateful?
Usually by how they behave. So I did an event this week. We had a big stand at the event with loads of merch on it. And there was the people that came over and said, can you just sign this? And what else can I have? And they, can I have a tote bag? Can I have a water bottle? Can I have this? Can I have that? Oh, well, actually, you need to scan the QR code. You'll come onto our database, and then you can have a couple of freebies. Can I have all of them? And that's the extreme. And then the other extreme, you got the people who come up to you like, what can I do for you?
Love that.
Like, bloody Nora. And they're few and far between. And then somewhere in the middle, they're the tricky ones, the ones that maybe are quite good at sort of being nice to start with, and then it turns out they did want something, or maybe appear like they want something, and it turns out they just want to be your friend. And so it's like tricky waters to navigate, and the kind of harder I push, the harder those waters become to navigate, because I've had people that I've become great friends with, and then the next day I get a legal letter from them asking for their money back, and how terrible I've been to them the whole time. I'm like, whoa, what? Yeah. Where's that come from? So,
what would you say to people that are going through that entrepreneurial journey that are scared of these legal letters or trolls or anything? Because I'm a massive believer, the bigger your brand, the bigger they're going to come.
Yeah.
So have you experienced that already? And what would you say to people that are a bit worried about it?
It's inevitable. So get over it.
Love it.
It's going to happen. Yeah. If you push hard enough, shit will happen. One of my first mentors said to me, if you're not upsetting people by 9 a.m., you're not pushing hard enough. And I used to think that is a really dick thing to say. Like, that is such a horrible, bad energy thing to say. And now I know what he meant. Yeah. And he didn't mean deliberately be divisive or deliberately go out there to hurt people or shout from the rooftops. He meant, if you're pushing really hard and putting yourself on a pedestal and people see that you've got something that they can take from you, they will try and take it. And that kind of, like, a thing for me with the Stay Hungry thing is I think about business like sport. And if you're the champion, everyone wants what you've got. And so you kind of, like, to stay hungry, you kind of have to have a bit of a challenger mentality. Yeah. And actually when these people come up and they want to take from you, you're like, okay, well, two can play at that game. I'm a nice person, but don't mistake nice for soft.
Yeah, I love that. Don't mistake nice for soft. Huge. And also, I would say the reason you're not a soft person is because of what you've been through,
Yeah.
right? You can be nice and resilient at the same time.
Yeah, so that's it. You know, people don't know. Like, I've told more of my story today than I've ever told, but you can't take me to anywhere close to as bad of the places I've taken myself. So send me a legal letter and don't care. Like, I don't know, like, do me over. Like, we've had, I've had people who I'm really close to and I've employed one of their kids and then it's all gone to shit. But you can't hurt me as much as I've hurt myself. So